What? Okay. Before I introduce Cory, I do want to introduce Stephanie Tate, who's the Marketing and Communications Director of Great Rivers and Routes Tourism. If you give Stephanie a round of applause. So just a little quick brief background. A few years ago, the city came to an agreement with Great Rivers and Routes to hire them to promote Edwardsville, as well as other communities do the same with Great Rivers and Routes. And so they are an integral part of many events that happen around the city, but also the criterion as they stepped up a couple years ago. First one, it was kind of last second, but started pushing out promotions for the criterion, and they'll do that again this year. So they're really going to be in this, an asset to the event and the Rotary Club with their efforts. So our speaker today is Cory Jobe. Cory was appointed as president and CEO of Great Rivers and Routes Tourism Bureau in November of 2020. Cory comes to the Bureau after a distinguished career spanning more than 20 years in various roles inside Illinois state government, where he more recently served as state director of the Illinois Office of Tourism. The Great Rivers and Routes Tourism Bureau region is the only place where the mother road of Route 66 meets the Great River Road. The region celebrates three of the nation's great rivers, Mississippi, Missouri, and Illinois, alongside famous roads, history, and small town charm, and encompasses a 6-county region in southwest Illinois, including Madison, Jersey, Calhoun, Macoupin, Montgomery, and Greene. The Bureau is a nationally certified destination marketing organization providing world-class destination management and marketing leadership that improves the region's quality of life and economic vitality. Cory joins the Bureau with a wealth of experience in the tourism and hospitality industry, most recently serving as Vice President of Marketing and Communications at Navy Pier in Chicago. I think a lot of us have been there for sure. The most visited tourism attraction in the Midwest. While at the pier, Cory was charged with leading marketing, branding, and communications initiatives. In his first year, the pier established a data-driven strategy to drive incremental increases in visitor attendance by 2% and visitor spending by 3%, the first time for both metric increases in 3 years. During his time at the Illinois Office of Tourism, Cory worked in collaboration with tourism industry professionals to promote domestic and international visitor travel to Illinois, expand international marketing efforts into China and Mexico, and increase domestic visitor spending, visitor volume, and state and local tax revenues year over year during his tenure. Outside of work, Cory serves on the board of directors for Equality Illinois, and with that kind of a background, I think Cory can handle the criteria. Cory, welcome.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon. Yes, I think I can handle the criteria. I'm anxious to get an update after our meeting today, and it's exciting to see that kind of sports activity, and I hear an expanded festival with it this year. So I'm really excited to be involved, and it's great to be back downstate. Thank you for the introduction. I spent most of my career and life in Springfield. I grew up in southeastern Illinois in Robinson, Illinois. And then after college, moved to Springfield and spent 20 years in state government, worked for, I could probably write a few books about different elected politicians I worked for, but had the honor to be appointed state tourism director by then Governor Bruce Rauner. And then went from state government to Navy Pier, was a great opportunity at the pier. And then a pandemic hit. And all of us were laid off at Navy Pier. And the process of being at the pier, I'd missed kind of the destination marketing management side of the business. As being state travel director, my chief job was to travel the state, promote all of our great domestic product to regional travelers, but also the opportunity to travel internationally and promote tourism to Chicago and throughout the state of Illinois to international travelers. And always enjoyed visiting this region. Brett Stawar, who ran Great Rivers and Routes, Tourism Bureau was always inviting me, and it's got a really great product here in the region. And so we've got a fantastic organization. We've expanded pretty rapidly over the last few years, but it it is something that we like to talk about regionalism. Not one community in Southwest Illinois can do it all. And we really have this approach of the 6 county region that it's not all leisure. That's I call the sexy side of the business, where you get involved in the advertising and the marketing and promotion to certain markets and demographics. But we also have key priorities, which really fill our hotel rooms and trickle out and support our economy, which is our business travel, meetings market, and sports tourism. I know Nate and the team at the Park District do a fantastic job with the facilities here in Edwardsville, and we have many of those across Southwest Illinois. Really our destination, a lot of people ask me, well, what is a DMO? We used to be called Convention and Visitor Bureaus. We're well beyond that these days. We're more about really marketing and managing our destination for really a livability factor for all of us. Tourists love to visit our communities, but once they leave, they love to visit our neat restaurants or visit our outdoor recreations or sites and attractions. We get to reap those benefits and enjoy our parks and recreation facilities and our sites and attractions and our cool downtowns, our foodie towns. And so we are really responsible for marketing and managing. And as Brian said, we're a 6 county regional destination. We've been in business for over 25 years. We used to be known as the all-around Alton Convention and Visitor Bureau, and our offices are still in Alton, but we have rapidly grown. And as Brian said, we're a 6 county regional tourism destination. And really our mission and vision is to provide world-class marketing, destination management, working with community leaders, economic development professionals to market and attract not only travel, but people that might be interested in looking to relocate a business or the livability factor of our communities. We're in the tourism business, so we always got pretty pictures and presentations. So I do have video content today, I will tell you, but I just want to give you a snapshot of our regional destination. So prior to the pandemic, and we were talking about this earlier, how it was a rough 2020, and all of a sudden the pent-up demand for travel has got everybody going crazy. And 2018 and 2019 were probably one of the top years in terms of travel and hospitality numbers to Illinois and throughout the Midwest. Visitor spending in Southwest Illinois was at 1.4 billion, that's with a B, $1.4 billion. Tax revenues from that visitor spending was nearly $80 million. And those tax revenues that were collected through the state and local taxing bodies. And local employment, people employed in Southwest Illinois topped over 9,500. So we were going at the right trajectory. Maybe that's why Brett left. He left on a high. No, I'm kidding. And then what happened? A pandemic. And, the travel and hospitality industry has been through a lot. We thought 9/11 was the toughest on our country and our economy, but the pandemic really had a major economic impact. In Illinois alone, 50% 50% less spending and travel in the state. Primarily, a lot of that driven by Chicago and Chicagoland because of the complete shutdown. I can attest to that because I was living in Chicago during that. 9 out of 10 tourism-related employment jobs in Illinois were either permanently gone or laid off over the past 15 months. The economy lost nearly over $1 trillion in visitor spending, $1 trillion, just in less than 12 months because of the pandemic. And so what did we do as a tourism bureau when we are to inspire travel to our region, to fill hotel rooms and to attend unique events, festivals, sporting events, business meetings? Well, we had to pivot. And we did that. And we did that on several fronts. And we actually had a pretty positive year. We launched a Summer Never Closes campaign, and we partnered with many key communities in Southwest Illinois, including at Edwardsville. We placed our digital advertising campaign to targeted areas, the St. Louis DMA Central Illinois, and we gained nearly 20 million impressions. We became a resource for COVID-19 information. You know, as we all know, information was changing sometimes daily. If it wasn't from the federal government to the state government to the local government, there wasn't just one communication that was connected. There was always different messaging. So we stayed on top of that with a very robust COVID-19 resource page, which became probably one of our top visited pages over the past year. We turned our attention, we were always supporting our local craft breweries and distilleries, wineries and restaurants, but we really got focused on trying to help our small business owners. I mean, especially restaurant operators. We had them change a lot of things. The government forced them to close, forced them to expand outside seating, less seating, you name it. Restaurants had to pivot a few times over the past year. And so we created a Carry Out Champs campaign that was a digital hit. We created and did a takeout edition of our very popular restaurant weeks. And then we promoted our Shop Local for the holiday season, where we highlighted a lot of our small business owners, makers throughout Southwest Illinois that provide a unique product. Our earned media efforts, we really had to double down because our budgets were really tight. So if we couldn't do paid advertising at the levels that we traditionally do in a normal year, Stephanie was out hitting the earned media circuit, public relations, and we garnered nearly $1.3 million in earned media. When there wasn't a lot to talk about with fairs, festivals, events, that was a hard push to get $1.3 million in earned public relations, and a lot of that out of major channels in the Chicago market. And then we asked a lot of our small business owners, sites, attractions to record public service announcements and messages. And we thought those would just live on our website and on our social channels, but St. Louis media outlets picked those up and ran those as PSAs at no charge to our organization. And so with that, we didn't have as bad of a year as we could have had. Around the Midwest, people were looking to travel to our open spaces. And just a quick another video of one of those Summer Never Closes campaigns. If you're asleep, I'm going to get your attention. My videos all have different sounds on them. So the videos were short clips featuring things to do outside. And something we probably learned a little bit about ourselves, and people were discovering, especially from the St. Louis market, that there is a lot to see and do across the river, that you could socially distance and hit the great outdoors, whether it was on our dedicated bike trails through Madison County Transit, or the Great River Road and our state parks, and our outdoor recreational activities such as biking, hiking, kayaking, and getting out on the Great Mississippi River. And so, you know, the power of travel is critical. When you look back at all of the spending that was made by those visitors coming to Southwest Illinois in 2018 and 2019, we felt that. Local governments felt those visitors not being in our communities, attending our events. So it's very powerful. And we've been crisscrossing the region over the past few weeks, just talking about how important it is for the overall economic recovery of our region that we have to have a positive, strong tourism message. You know, we have the perfect location. We're very accessible by car. We're accessible by Amtrak. You know, we have tons of open spaces, and anybody that's got an active lifestyle, this is really the place for you to be. And we all know from the pandemic that we can really work from about anywhere. I came over to Edwardsville early this morning, had several meetings. I went to a local coffee shop, did a lot of work, worked on this speech today, drafted a contract, all from the coffee shop on Main Street here in Edwardsville. So we know we can work from anywhere. And so it's important that we continue to showcase our positive message, our positive locations through a positive message. And we're doing that. We have ramped up our outreach. To date, I'm going to show you one of our new advertising campaigns that we're in the marketplace. We're making smart data-driven decisions. Yes, we're using big data. We call it visitor intelligence. That's the buzzword in the hospitality and travel industry these days. We use some of our PPP funds to invest in visitor data and visitor intelligence so we can make smarter data-driven decisions, not only in our advertising, but sharing with our community leaders that information so they can better be equipped to either develop additional recreational complexes, to invest in downtown areas, to go after certain businesses they want to see that will help with their tourism product. And so our 4 areas that we're focusing right now over the next 6 months, and we did a pretty good job of these prior to the pandemic, but these are really our bread and butter areas that will make us a stronger destination coming out. And really, we all hear about road trips. You know, we've all heard about road trips. I was talking about road trips when I was state tourism director 5 years ago, but it's true. We are situated for a really easy road trip. You know, I got on a plane for the first time in 15 months a couple of weeks ago. I was a little spooked, but I wouldn't be spooked to hopping in my car. And if I had a family with children, I wouldn't be spooked to take a road trip, hop in the car, and stay closer to home this summer. We're seeing that. Yes, air flights are coming back pretty strong, but I think there are still going to be that hesitation over the next 6 months and staying closer to home, taking that road trip. Number one, and that's where we're in 6 advertising markets around the Midwest. We're advertising right now in the entire state of Indiana, Chicago, St. Louis DMA, the Paducah, Kentucky market. We're advertising very heavily Central Illinois, Springfield East, to Terre Haute north to Champaign and Bloomington Normal, and the Des Moines, Iowa Quad Cities market. And we're doing that with a lot of targeted paid digital advertising through digital display, targeted social, and connected television. 2, we see a comeback pretty quickly of business travel. We're already seeing that with our partnership with the city of Collinsville and the Gateway Center. They're seeing an uptick in business. We're seeing that smaller, more regional niche markets are starting to book business travel again, and we see that as an opportunity to grow over the next 6 months. Market what we have and be able to tell people what we have available in the facilities that we have. 3 is group travel. Group travel, I was way off the mark in the rebound of the pandemic. I said group travel wouldn't happen till probably the 2nd or 3rd quarter of next year, and it's making a very robust comeback. We work very closely with American Queen and American Cruise Lines, who are using Alton as their port instead of downtown St. Louis, and we booked more than 1,600 room nights starting in July. So we're seeing a very big comeback. We're also seeing pretty big demand for group travel at our sites and attractions. And so those cruise lines have already posted their 22 schedule, and Viking Cruise Lines. The only body of water that Viking does not cruise on is the Mississippi. Well, they will be in 22, and they have just posted their 23 schedule. So we do see group travel making a bigger comeback quicker than we originally thought coming out of the pandemic. I'm going to show you one last video and then I'll end it because I'm running out of time. This is one of many of our campaigns that are in the marketplace right now. This is kind of an outdoor active lifestyle. One last slide, just in closing. This is our team. We're small and mighty. I probably shouldn't put this on here with all working with all women, but we have more than 60 years of combined hospitality and tourism experience. And we have a very dedicated team. Stephanie does fantastic work with our marketing and public relations, and our entire team's here to really help and help continue to market and promote the city of Edwardsville, all of the special events. And so we look forward to working with all of you. Obviously, the criterium's coming up. Just met with the Tennis Futures tournament yesterday, and excited about that tournament coming up too. But with that, I want to thank you for your time today. I don't know if we have a few minutes for questions, if anybody. Oh, okay. Any questions? Yeah.
Recently, I read an article. There's an attempt to put a whole lot of money into Cory Mound.
Yeah.
Area with hopes to turn it into an attraction as big as the pyramids of Egypt. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, to become a National Park Service site would be remarkable, incredible. There have been a lot of efforts made. I think having that National Park Service designation is only a plus for us. I mean, many people do not realize we have a World Heritage Site in our region, Coquia Mounds. And so anytime you can get the National Park Service, there's always been some concern, can IHPA, who is now Illinois Historic Preservation Agency run by the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, is there a cooperation there? And that's being successfully done in Chicago right now with the Pullman District. You know, that's a National Park Service site, still operated by the Illinois Historic Preservation Agency. So it's been done before. There is precedent. I think it will hopefully happen. The Biden administration is very supportive of the national parks. We're very active with U.S. Travel Association. We've been lobbying when I was state travel director, and now our organization. We worked with the Trump administration. Now we're working with the Biden administration. There's hundreds of millions of dollars in backlog of projects at our national parks. The Biden administration signals not only national parks, which could be great for Coquia Mounds, but also our National Scenic Byway. Through the federal highway bill, we are making a strong effort to make sure byways are funded. Right now in the 6-county region, we have 3. We have historic Route 66. We have the meetings of the Great River Road, which we manage. That's the National Scenic Byway, 33 miles. And then there's also the Illinois Great River Road. So we have 3 National Scenic Byways, a World Heritage Site, potentially some funding opportunities that have not been there for a long, long time. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So just thinking of all the regions we have, like you had to like take things that would make our region even better. What would be 1 or 2?
Well, I was meeting with the mayor this morning, and you know, we had I won't steal Representative Stewart or Senator Crow's thunder. Still the budget has not been signed yet by the governor, but we were very successful to get some ARPA funds for Route 66, and Route 66 100th birthday will be in 2026, and the impetus of getting some funding now to start planning maybe project development was to prepare for Route 66. I was saying this to the mayor this morning. I couldn't believe, I didn't realize how big Route 66 was to the international traveler. And my team, when I got at the Illinois Office of Tourism, they were briefing me on Route 66 and going to this meeting in London. And I said, what? We're going to London? What are we talking about? And it's, you know, when I lived in Springfield, I was on the Springfield City Council for 2 terms, and the Tourism Bureau would tell me, Cory, you know, Lincoln's just the icing on the cake. All of our international travel is coming here because of Route 66. And we see I think Route 66 domestically has not caught on as great as it has internationally, but because of COVID and road trip focus, it's picking back up. Route 66, I think. Obviously, there's a successful car show. There's another in the fall. That history, that small town charm, people like that. You're positioned well. We at the Bureau, we stretch all the way up to Carlinville and Montgomery County. And so Litchfield, coming out, if you're an international traveler, you're flying into Chicago, you're either renting motorcycles or cars and driving across country. Typically, they're stopping in Springfield for an overnight. Litchfield is our biggest Route 66 product before you get to the river. They're not going to spend the night in Litchfield. So we need to have some sort of bookend here of Route 66. And we've got to start planning and meeting and talking and figuring that out. Because I think if we have the right plan, the right funding and projects, we could be that anchor for one more overnight instead of it going to Missouri. And, an overnight will help with motel tax revenues, but they'll keep shopping and dining and enjoying. And so I think Route 66, obviously you have a great foodie scene. I've said that I've lived in Chicago, has a pretty darn good culinary scene, but we got a really good food scene in Southwest Illinois. I mean, I'm amazed at how good the product is here. And so I would say food and our craft beer, spirit, small business, but Route 66, I think, is a key for us. All right, thank you so much. Have a great day.
The cap, nursery and stop kicking with, present that with you and thank you for the program.
Oh, thank you. This will go in our office. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, next week.